Welcome back for episode 7. This is our 7th week of filming after 2.5 months of being in Guatemala. We're having a blast still, but we're coming across the challenges that are bound to come up in any experience. We bought a 10-year-old boat. We knew going in there'd be some deferred maintenance, there'd be some projects, things are going to break, things are already broken, and we're working through these projects as best we can. But what we're finding along the way is that we can't complete the projects the way we normally would. We like to make a list, do the thing, cross it off the list, and feel great. And right now, I think we have 10 things on the list that have half a dash line through one word because we're just not able to finish. And we'll get into some of that in this episode and show you what we're doing and what we're running up against.
Yeah, we're discovering that coming from the land of plenty, the United States, for mid-project, it might take 3 or 4 trips to any number of stores, but we can get what we need. And here, that's just not the case. So we're running up against missing parts or needing professional help in some cases when something is just too broken for us to manage on our own.
So come along for the ride. Make sure and like and subscribe if you're having a good time watching us. It lets other people know that there might be something worth looking at over here. Humans can go a long time without a lot of things. Food, sleep, shelter. Water, though, we don't get to go very long without water. And this seems to be a pretty common theme for us on the boat and in life, constantly working on water and water systems. We have a water maker. It's the Salator, a French-made water maker. It makes 60 gallons of water an hour when it's working. It uses a crap ton of electricity. It's big. And we don't actually know how well it works. We don't know if it's been serviced, maintained, pickled, put away correctly, or what it's going to need. So we're going to get into that today and see what we need to do to get the water maker going. But in addition to that, just being here at the marina, we don't have great water. Jerry will get into that more later and talk to you about that. But as you can see, I'm surrounded by a jug of water, bottled water, water filtration stuff. And this is really, it's just an ongoing theme for us right now and for people in general. Access to clean water is really important.
This water maker has 2 pre-filters in line ahead of the pressure pump and the membranes to keep any large particulate out. These would probably have a 20 and a 10 micron or a 10 and a 5 micron filter in them. Right now it appears they have no filters at all in them, so either the system has been pickled, the filters were tossed as they should be, or something else that we don't know. So we're treating it like something else we don't know because we don't have any other information. Looking at this filter housing, it's filthy. The ring around the inside's pretty bad. This valve lets the wastewater go over the side before the salt's out of it. And then this valve allows fresh water to be pumped in to clean the filters or backflush the filters and the membranes. The control panel's missing a couple screws. It clearly needs some attention. We just don't know what yet. You can see the motor's missing some paint. This has been in service for 10 years. There was a plastic tub with lots of spares in it in the engine room near the water maker. So we'll go through this and figure out what we have and what's usable and what isn't. Looks like some filters, some spare parts, or maybe some parts that were replaced. Both. Looks like there might be some pickling or sterilizing solution in here as well. A couple of sensors. And we'll go through this and figure out what we have, what we need, build our spares back up, and figure out how to store this stuff correctly if we decide to keep this water maker and not replace it with something else. The engine room isn't a super clean place, so really everything in there needs to get cleaned out. If we're going to store things in the engine room, we really need to put them in a sealed container. So even these, plastic bottles with chemicals in them, we need to get the grime off of them, see how bad they are, and just get them cleaned up. The O-rings on the top of these filter housings, I don't know if we have spares or not. I don't think that we do. And that'll be something that we add to the kit. But I want to look these over and see if they're in good shape or if they're at risk, any nicks or cuts on them or splits.
We have a water problem. The water at the marina, out of the spigots, we're on the dock, is straight out of the river and it is polluted. A lot of people around here manage that by putting the water through their water maker, even though it's fresh water. It comes out great on the other side, but right now our water maker is not serviceable. It needs some work. So in the meantime, we are working on getting a water filtration system that will allow us to drink from our taps. As it is, we buy the big 5-gallon jugs and we use that for drinking and for cooking. And the water that we get is okay for things like laundry and dishes and showers. Although admittedly, there are people around here who've reportedly had persistent tummy troubles or have gotten like toenail infections and stuff like that just from the exposure to the water. So far, Sean and I have not had that problem, so I'm very, very grateful. But we have a plan. Here's the plan. This is going to help us have clean water, drinkable water from any water source. Here's how this is going to work. We've got canister 1, which is going to take the water from the outside world and run it through this 25 micron stainless steel filter. Washable, should be good for a good long time. That's going to go through a nipple from one to the next, which is the same size canister and a 10 micron filter. Also stainless steel, also washable, should last a good long time. I like that. And then another nipple in between, and that'll go to the last canister with a 5 micron filter that's got carbon in it, which is supposed to make it taste good because it reduces chlorine. So there we go. That one, of course, is replaceable filters. We'll have to take care of that as needed. And finally, one more step. We have a UV filter. That's pretty cool. Next in line, which should take care of making absolutely certain that after it's gone through all the filters, everything is dead and we should have perfectly clean, clear, yummy tasting water. Now let's talk about where we got blocked. Finding the nipples that go in between the canisters. So right here, in between each of these, here and here, is a brass or PVC nipple, and we can't find them. Lorena, at our favorite hardware store, is seeing about getting them ordered for us. The other part, we were hoping to find a piece of starboard or some other synthetic material to mount them on, but so far no go on that. So we're going to worry about getting the nipples in first and all the other little bits and pieces so that we can actually put the thing together. And then we'll probably just mount it on a piece of plywood painted with some bilge coat, which is assuming we can find bilge coat. So far we have not had any success with that either. We were really, really hoping to have this done fairly quickly once these parts arrived. But as you can see, when you're living in a developing nation, everything is not easily available. In fact, sometimes it's not available at all.
It's really hot here. Last night we tried an experiment with the AirCon in our room by changing out the flexible duct that supplies the cold air from the air conditioner to a rigid PVC pipe to see if that would help the airflow and make a big difference. It made a difference, but it's a big cost to have the PVC there. It takes a lot of room. Have a look. This PVC pipe takes up a ton more space than the original pipe that was in here. And the original is a flex duct, so it definitely reduces the airflow. Ultimately, we're gonna go back to the flex conduit and put that back in and reevaluate the whole AC system once we get to Florida. To get started, we gotta wipe up some water because I don't wanna lay down in here in the water. And yeah, I have to lay down inside this locker to do this work. So I'm gonna start by, let's just mop up some water. Let's get this PVC out of here. I didn't glue it in or anything last night, so this is not too hard. This is the slinky that moves the air. This is what was installed from the original, and you can see it's dryer vent, straight up by dryer vent. Super flexible, super soft, with some insulation around it. So this gets some zip ties to hold it onto the inlet and outlet, and then some zip ties to hold the insulation around it. That is just long enough. Make sure we got the plastic all the way around. Now we just have to put all the covers on.
Just disappeared too. Those are not screws, huh?
No, these little quarter turn toggles are great. I like them a lot.
That's handy.
Yeah. Okay, so there you can see that is pushing up against this. Now, to get this in place, I just have to crush it a bit. Who would have thought you could do this right and have it look neat? We got the whole fix for the air conditioning put back together. Now we will see if we can get all of the boat cleaning supplies in there. Jerry thinks no. I think maybe, which is not very optimistic of me. It's
Which
space,
is pretty weird because you're really good at space.
which means it probably won't fit. I get it in there.
Never get back out.
Every time we have to get in and out of this, I'm gonna hate my life.
True that.
All right,
So what's the solution?
I don't know yet. Let's revisit it.
All right, next.
We got the air conditioning all back together and it's running, but now we've found there's another big problem. Have a look.
This is the infamous chiller. This guy should not be leaking. The amount of water that's coming out of it is pretty extraordinary. And so you'll see here all these drips. Okay, this is slowed down to half speed. The bilge pump's coming on like crazy. You see the drips, but to the right of that, you see water just running out of it. This is the heat exchanger for the condenser coil, and it's leaking enough water that I'm worried about it surviving until we get to Florida so we can reevaluate. All this water that's pooled up here in the bottom, that's bad news. We've got electric wires running through it, every part of this. So we're going to shut this thing down and get some help over here to take it out and see if they can repair that condenser coil before we end up with a worse problem and no air conditioning at all. It does mean that we're probably going to be without AC for a couple of days while this happens. We embrace the sun. Hey, you made it to the end. Well done. This has been a really awkward episode for us to produce. Everything we did this week couldn't be finished. And I hope a sense of the challenges came through a little bit, but not too much. We're sitting here right now. It's after 9 p.m. The sun's been down for 3 hours. It is still fully 93 degrees inside the boat in the salon. The AC is out and we're just cooking. And you know, it's funny, we thought about, well, we're here in paradise living our dream, or are we miserable in paradise? And I wouldn't trade any of this to go back to the other life.
These are not just first world problems. These are the tiniest little nothings. We didn't have a hurricane here. We haven't had any tornadoes. There wasn't any flooding. Our AC went out. We're okay.
Yeah.
We're hot and we're sticky, but we're okay. It'll get fixed and we'll be fine and we'll be able to move on to the next thing.
And we'll have finished a project or two. Hey, thanks for hanging in. If you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Say, hey, you look sweaty. Because seriously, I'm so sweaty. Thanks, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.